Welcome back to TDAY Sports. I'm your host, Gemma, coming to you by Fernando, Bronwyn, and Pat. Guys, we got a huge weekend ahead of us. We got Penn State, number 7 ranked against 25 Kirk Ferentz and Cade McNamara of Iowa, the Iowa Hawkeyes. I'm so excited. I mean, Iowa's coming to a very tough environment. What do we think the score prediction is? What do you think, Fernando?
I really think this game is going to be much more closer than people think. I have Penn State winning 20-13. I think Drew Lar will be nervous at first, but then I think he will settle down in the second half. I think the rain will be a big factor if it rains, but I think the crowd and the defense pull us through.
Yeah, we don't play good in the rain, so I really hope it doesn't rain. What do you think, Bronwyn?
See, originally I had the score being Penn State 31, Iowa 10, but after looking at my weather app and seeing the potential of rain, I had to deteriorate that. Like you said, Penn State is not their strongest in the rain, so honestly, I'm projecting it to be like a 23-10 game. I still think Iowa gets 10 on the board, but I don't think it'll be much more than that in the whiteout conditions.
And who do we think is a player to watch this game?
For me, I think it's a group of people. I think it's the linebackers.
Yes.
I think Iowa's pass game is a little shaky at times. I don't think Cade McNamara's that great of a quarterback.
No.
So I say Abdul Carter, Kobe King, Dominic DeLuca, and Curtis Jacobs really need to step up because they're going to be using that run game a lot.
They got so many interceptions last weekend. I want double that. I want double that on Cade McNamara. But I do think it's going to be a close game. Iowa's never a high-scoring game. I mean, look at the past couple of years. It's always been such a low-scoring game. So I think it's going to be like 28-31 to 10-14. But I am scared because I hate Iowa so much. So it's always scared. Those in-conference games are always so scary. But, you know, praying for the best, you know, hopefully you get that W. And we got a couple easy weeks ahead of us until we go into Columbus. But
Exactly. Got to start off somewhere.
Yeah.
speaking of Ohio State, who I hate even more, they're having Notre Dame come in. You know, this is a really tough showdown. Notre Dame really wasn't in it last year when they played because, you know, they had CJ Stroud, they had all these such good players, but you know, we got Sam Hartman. We got Sam Hartman, who I think is really good going into Columbus. I think Notre Dame's going to get the dub. What do you guys think?
Wow, this is really a tough game to predict. Like, Notre Dame has the tendency of not playing well against good teams.
Yeah.
And Ohio State, they have like such a great offense, but lately, like at first they didn't start well. Like they were looking shaky. But this last game against Western Kentucky, they played really well. They scored 63 points. Marvin Harris Jr. looked fantastic also. So I would say Ohio State, sadly, was going to win this game.
No. Gemma, I am with you on this
you're
one.
With me, girl.
Ohio State has yet to prove anything this season. I have Notre Dame taking this win. It's at home. They've proved so much more this season. And like you said, even though Ohio State has slowly started to wake up a little bit in their most recent game, they've played easy opponents, and they're still in that like AP top 10, and they shouldn't be, honestly.
Notre Dame has a better quarterback. Notre Dame had 10 times.
Notre Dame has a better running back.
I agree.
As well.
Our estimate is, if we're not talking about quarterbacks, is the Heisman front runner right now. Both defenses aren't elite like Georgia's probably is right now. They both have good defenses. So it's going to come down to, we both know they have good offenses. Ohio State's always going to have a good offense. Yeah. And now Notre Dame possibly has a top 5 offense in the country. So it comes down to those two shows.
It's going to come to who wakes up and is ready to play a decent opponent.
It's going to be tough because Kyle McCord has not been like faced with a real challenge yet. So we're going to see how, you know.
And let's see.
And they don't have a running game right now.
No.
Yeah.
Ohio State, like this, like is crazy.
Whoa.
And it's actually making me really happy that they're not that good this year. Like, oh my God, I can't wait.
It'll be interesting to see who covers Marvin Harris Jr.
You know, he's not that good, guys. He's not that good.
Don't overhype him.
He's way too overhyped. But you know, that's just one of the big games this week. We have so many big games this weekend. There's so many undefeated teams playing each other. There's so many ranked teams playing each other. We got some notable games like Colorado versus Oregon. We got Ole Miss playing Alabama. We have so many games. What do you guys think? Who's like the big game that you're talking about? What do you think, Patrick?
For me, a couple of them. Oregon, Colorado. I think Oregon walks right through them. I think UCLA, Utah's a great game. I think Utah's the grittiest team in the country. And then my game of the week is Florida State, Clemson.
Yeah.
We want to see if Florida State is really that team, or on the other side, is Dabo Swinney still a top 5 coach?
Clemson's having
I actually picked Clemson to win this game. You know, Florida State is coming off almost a loss to Boston College. Are you kidding me right now?
That was such a special game. Everybody was rooting. Everyone was rooting against them because of the cause. Yes.
But I actually really hope. I don't really like Clemson, but I really hope Clemson beats Florida State just so we can
Yeah, exactly.
That's
The only
awesome.
reason
Yeah,
I
I
don't
want
want
Clemson to
win as well.
Clemson to win is kind of screw up the polls a little bit.
I
Same
also
thing with
want
Notre Dame.
Colorado to win too. I'm such a Colorado stan.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Prime. Wow.
I love.
What an effect he has on that program.
I felt like I was on Colorado, like watching last week, and I was just so angry at Colorado State last weekend. I was just so angry at them. I love Shedeur Sanders so much. I love him. Praying for a good recovery from Travis Hunter. I love him so much. But you don't think Colorado's going to win?
I'll talk about this later.
No,
I am not.
I don't agree with that.
I'll get into it later, and I'll give you the reasons as to why.
Okay, fair enough.
Do we think Ole Miss is going to get a win in Tuscaloosa?
I do.
I think Jackson Dart.
I think Mississippi is going to win this game. Alabama has a lot of problems, especially at quarterback.
They played UCF last weekend and you struggled.
They
That's
won-
really
They won
embarrassing.
17-3 only. And like they changed
the
quarterbacks at one
halftime-
point.
the
They changed
halftime was
quarterbacks and that
so
didn't even
bad.
help.
Yeah, they changed it. Tyler Buckner,
Mhm.
and then they went to Ty Simpson,
Yeah,
and it didn't help
figured
at
out.
all.
That's my whole
Figured
thing.
out
I think
Tuscaloosa.
Jackson Dart is a better quarterback, and I think that's what that game really comes down to because Alabama's offense has not looked great
No.
over the past couple
No,
weeks.
it
definitely
has
not.
Now, the defense didn't look terrible last week, but their offense is really the issue for them, and I think Jackson Dart is a better quarterback than any of the three that Alabama
I
have
agree.
right now.
I think Lane Kiffin is really coming in there wanting to beat Nick Saban. you
Yeah.
know?
Nick Saban.
Nick
He wants that job.
You okay, Nick
He
Saban?
wants that job. You know, Nick Saban has a history of losing to like former coaches, you know. So I'm such a big fan of Lane Kiffin. So I'm really hoping he gets the win in
Yeah,
Tuscaloosa.
I think we're seeing the end of the Nick Saban dynasty.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
He's
agree.
gonna. I wouldn't be surprised if he retires in the next couple years.
Oh yeah, he
You know.
probably wants to have like one
He's
more
gonna
good
wanna be a
season.
Pat
Go out on a
McAfee.
He's
bang.
done. He has no like big players, like no well-known players on that team anymore. Like versus a couple
McKinstry.
years ago, you had like so many first-round picks on that team that everyone knows. Like till this day, like you all knew Devontae Smith, you all knew Tua, you all
Yeah.
knew
Yep.
Jalen
Yeah,
Tell
so
Hurts.
later,
many great
yeah.
players.
I honestly can't name a single one of them.
Cooley
Mhm.
McKinstry.
Okay, true, but like you don't
one
have
on
that.
an entire
You don't have that
roster.
big like.
stack of
You
like
don't have that
you don't have that
guy.
depth.
Yeah,
You don't have
I
that
agree.
depth either.
Yeah.
Like
You don't.
You can't say
Alabama
a great
is
play.
scrapping at the straight
Yeah.
lines with no depth on any position.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the quarterback controversy is really killing them.
Yeah.
That's their
As well
biggest
as Ohio
issue
State.
right
It's
now.
their really
Yeah.
biggest issue. Yeah, everyone's been struggling with their like, who's their right quarterback fit?
Mhm.
But you know,
Thank God we don't have that problem.
Oh, where's some wood?
Drew for Heisman. I love this kid. Anyways, you know, speaking of just like going over a couple years of games, you know, we've had some pretty iconic whiteouts, and you know, everyone's gonna go around tell me like your whiteout game, your whiteout moment. You know, let's start it off. Let's start it off with Fernando
For me, it
or
was
Patrick. I think we're starting off with Patrick actually.
Okay, I'll start out. So my freshman year, it was the Auburn Tigers versus the Penn State Nittany Lions. That came down to the wire, and Bo Nix was not able to complete on fourth down, and it ended the game. That was the biggest moment. It was my second ever Penn State football game. The crowd was electric, 110,000 people. It was nuts.
I remember watching that game, and I was so scared to watch that game. It was like nerve-wracking, and I loved Jaquan Brisker. I knew he was going to pull it out for us. But this was a very scary game.
Yeah.
It really was.
I remember watching it.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it was the Ohio State Penn State game in 2016. Like, no one gave us a chance in that game. Everybody thought Ohio State was gonna destroy us, that we were gonna get beaten up, but we proved them wrong. We pulled off one of the biggest upsets in college football history. I remember this game so much because this is the day I think I fell in love with Penn State.
Yeah.
Aw. Okay, this is gonna come across really bad, honestly, and hopefully doesn't give us bad juju for the weekend. But I went with what's considered the first ever Penn State whiteout game back in 2004, the year I was born, against Purdue. We've only ever played Purdue a handful of times, and we only ever lost them 3 times. This game was unfortunately the only time we ever lost to them at home, but it's what started the tradition.
Mhm.
And for me, going into my first ever whiteout game this weekend, extremely hyped. I had to go back with the OGs. I was like, yes, I watched a lot of incredible games, watched highlights, watched reruns. But for this, I was like, you know what? I just got to give tribute to the original game, what started it all. And just, I'm sure after this weekend, obviously, will be my all-time favorite because it's my first in-person whiteout game.
Mhm.
But you just got to give it tribute to where it started all like 19 years ago.
Everyone knows the whiteout.
Yeah.
Everyone talks about the whiteout. Everyone
most
dreams
famous
about going to a
college
whiteout.
football
Yeah.
game in history.
It's so awesome.
One of the best experiences
Yeah.
ever.
So I love the 2016 game. That's probably one of my favorite games, the Ohio State 2016 game. But I had to go with, you know, one that's not talked about that much, but it's still awesome. The 2013 Michigan game. I love
Oh,
Allen
that
Robinson.
catch.
When you just
Beautiful.
hear crowd, it just gives you chills.
Beautiful.
It gives you chills. I don't like Christian Hackenberg that much, but you know what? He pulled it out for us. I love
Take the
him.
dub, take the dub.
And you know, this is when we were going through a lot of the sanctions. So everyone kind of just like written us off for a couple years. You know, this game was so awesome. I love to see us beating Michigan. I always love it. And you know what? It just everyone rushing the field.
Beautiful feeling.
It's just awesome. I want to rush the field so bad.
This is the game to me that revived Penn State's football
Agreed.
program with Bill O'Brien and Christian Hackenberg.
I miss Bill O'Brien. He was actually a very good coach. I miss him so much.
Yeah.
But anyways, we're going to get into fake contenders. You know,
That's
we're
a good
starting
one.
to get a feel for, you know, what teams are going to make it into the college football playoff
Mhm.
and ones that are going to go to an Outback Bowl or some
Not even
a good bowl.
Yeah.
But so far in the college season, what team has really disappointed you? Who's disappointed you so far?
For me, my first pick was Tennessee. Tennessee started out as a top 10 team. They lost to Florida last week. Joe Milton does not look great.
Mhm.
We know he can throw the ball 80 yards, but he's going to throw it 60 when you need to throw him 40 and 40 when you need to throw him 20. He's not accurate. He doesn't go through his reads well. That was my one issue with Tennessee. Colorado. I know they haven't lost, and they look great against TCU. They look good against Nebraska, and they looked average against Colorado State. Colorado State should have won that game.
Yeah.
Shadur, I like Shadur. I like Dean. I think they're both a great player and a great coach. I don't see it from their D-line. I don't see it from their O-line. And then they have a heck of a schedule coming up. They have Oregon.
They do. They have
They have
really
everyone in the
tough
Pac-12,
schedule.
and the Pac-12 is murderer's row. It is hard for them to win any of the games in there. I see them as a 7-win game. I see them as barely a bowl game.
Fun fact, Deion Sanders had an itty-bitty home in my itty-bitty town. Like, he had a home in my town, and that's because our town was so small. That's what everyone used as the map space. Instead of saying, like, oh, the mall or the Kroger, they'd just be like, oh, Deion Sanders' house or whatever. And then he moved out to Colorado, so now it just sits there and is a Kroger instead.
I love Deion Sanders. I think
But you gotta
he's
respect him.
such a
He's so
good coach.
friendly.
I think he really motivates these kids.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
really do.
I really love him, and I just love the brother duo on. I just
And his
love
sunglasses.
it.
Question
And
to
his
you.
sunglasses.
Question
They
to
are
you.
not going to win this weekend.
Do you think they can beat
Yes.
Oregon?
I don't know.
Yes.
No.
Do you think they can beat USC?
No.
I don't
Yes.
think
they beat-
Washington State.
Yes,
They beat
Utah
Colorado
beat
State.
Utah beat USC 2 times last year.
I think
And
they have a
Utah's like
Utah-
a
I
think they-
mid-program.
2 years in a row.
I think they beat Oregon, but they lose to
They have
USC.
a better chance against Oregon than USC.
I don't
agree
think
to
USC is
but
that good.
But because Oregon is at home,
Tulane beat USC. Tulane beat USC.
Don't hate on Tulane. I got to
That was in a bowl game, and
Yeah.
Jordan
on
Addison
Tulane.
wasn't playing.
I don't
My
care.
thing is that Washington State, who's far beneath Colorado in the rankings right now, I believe at 23. I believe Washington State they put up 50 against Colorado State. The spread against Colorado and Colorado State was 21 in favor of.
I just think
Colorado.
Colorado
So
State
that
actually
was-
thought
that
they
was-
were coming in and going to win this. They played too dirty for me. I didn't like
Yeah.
it. I just thought they played with no respect.
Probably
played
salty
just
on
as
this Travis
dirty.
I don't
Patrick.
care. I love
Just as
Colorado.
dirty.
That's the difference. I love
I
Colorado.
don't like
Yeah,
the charades that
Colorado
they put on.
demonstrated that
I
they
didn't
can
like all the
overcome
people on the
adversity.
sideline.
I like the flashiness. I like that they're hyping the underdogness. I like that they're continuing it on and building off the hype. But I'm with you on this one. I don't think they're going to get the win this weekend. And like you said, they have a very tough schedule in front
How
of
many
them.
wins do you give them?
I'm going to say the floor, I'll 8-4.
See, as a
Ceiling,
As a
10-2.
Wow.
I would go
No.
with her, 10-2.
With like a
UCLA,
nice,
Utah.
with like a nice,
I can see them beating Utah.
like a nice cotton bowl, like a cotton bowl or something.
Every
like
time,
that.
They're not
every
making
time
it to your
people
sixth bowl.
doubt Colorado,
Hey,
they always
They're at the Cotton
respond.
Bowl. I'll go pay
They
a visit.
barely responded this weekend.
But no one gave them a chance against TCU, and they won.
TCU
Yes.
lost 34 players.
They
last
were
year.
like
TCU's terrible.
21 point underdogs
tell
against
Hornfrogs that.
TCU, and TCU is not even a good team. They got smacked in the
And
national
TCU was
championship.
lucky last year. Like, their defense is bad, and it was bad last year, and it's bad this
Sam
year.
Duggan wasn't even that good,
Max
if I'm being
Duggan.
honest with you. Max
Yeah,
Duggan.
They should have never gone to that national championship.
No,
last
they
year.
shouldn't now. They it was
I mean, it was nice
embarrassing.
not to see a Michigan or Ohio State there,
Agreed.
but
Agreed.
Yeah, I
yeah.
completely
Let's
agree.
put a little
Fernando,
shame.
who are your people that you're not really impressed with this year?
For me, it's been Alabama. Like,
Yeah.
they started fourth to begin the season in the rankings, and they have fallen down to 13 since then. They started well, but then they lost to Texas. Then they barely beat University of South Florida.
Yeah.
And they have so many quarterback controversy there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
as we talked about earlier, yeah.
You even saw it last year. They lost to who did they lose to? They lost to Tennessee. Did they lose to someone else? But you just saw it last year. Like the crackings in the
Yeah, I was
team were
gonna
just
say LSU.
LSU, yes, thank you.
That's what
Yeah,
I thought.
And
Tennessee
over-
last year.
Yeah,
Oh,
in
yeah.
Tennessee, yeah.
yeah.
You just saw the crackings within the team. Like you just know that this program's not as good as they used to be.
And like I said, I really think they're going to lose this weekend.
Well,
I hope so.
that'd be quite
I
entertaining.
really hope so. Bronwyn, who do you have?
I'm with Patrick on one of them. I took two. I have Tennessee and I have Clemson. Tennessee they're both teams are currently 2-1, but oh my gosh, they've had such a downfall since last year. Tennessee finished like 11-2 overall. They had amazing wins, like we were talking about, over Alabama. So hyped. Everybody was wanting to go to Knoxville, blowing up. Everyone was loving the orange, the checkered. It was hyping up. Clemson, not insane, but they were like I said, they're 2-1 right now. Finished first in the ACC or their division, and they were 11-3 over last year, I think, overall, I believe. But this year, both teams have come in, their wins are both over easy teams. Their losses over teams they should have beaten. Both teams should be 3-0 right now if they were doing what they were supposed to be doing.
Let's just say Clemson's lucky they're in the ACC. They're lucky they're in a bad conference.
But I still think Clemson is a great team. Because of Dabo.
They lost to Duke.
That's what I was about to say.
They're always going to be in the top 25. They're always going to be in the top 25.
I think it was like 6 years ago. They lost to Syracuse. 5 years ago, they lost to Boston
They
College.
lost to South Carolina last year.
Yeah. So those were still years where they made the college football playoff. Dabo Swinney is still Dabo Swinney. He might not be great at the NIL and transfer market, but he's still a great coach.
I think if Penn State played Clemson, I think we would beat Clemson. I
think we beat both teams.
There's still a bunch of talent on Clemson's team.
For sure. That's why they're D1. That's why they're at the level they are. But it's
not the
same.
It's not the same as it was before.
Yeah, Alabama and Clemson are going down.
Death Valley's dying, to say the least.
I completely agree.
I shared a team with you guys. I said Tennessee. This team, I think, was way too overhyped last year.
It was so fun watching them.
It was so fun watching them, and then they absolutely got, smacked by Georgia, in the next weeks. It was, really embarrassing. I thought this team was going to be really good, and I really had a lot of faith in Joe Milton just because I watched him in the bowl game, and he was really good in the bowl game. And then I just watched Tennessee against Florida, and it was really embarrassing. Florida's not that good of a program, and they looked really good against Tennessee. And then here's Tennessee trying to beat up Florida player. I'm like, what are you doing?
Oh my gosh.
Don't push Gray Mertz. I don't like Gray Mertz, but don't push him on the ground.
Pushing him to the end zone.
It was just really bad. Tennessee, I don't know what's going to happen. They're in a really hard conference. 8-4.
Do you think they should put in Nico Iamaleava?
I feel like they maybe need to put him in for a little bit. I think
there's a reason Joe Milton wasn't able to keep a job at Michigan, and there's a reason he might not keep it now.
That's so true. But, Tennessee, I don't know. They might go back to what they have been for the last couple of years. I don't know. Yeah, you never know with them. We're going to find out. But, speaking of college football players, I want to know who your most exciting player in college football history was. There's been so many exciting people that we've gotten to watch. Even in our lifetime, we've gotten to witness play great college football. So who did you have as your most exciting college football player of all time?
I had the single greatest college football player of all time, Cam Newton. He did everything for his team. He led the team in rushing. Obviously, he led it in passing. He brought him to a national championship, to a team that had 7 wins the year before and 7 wins the year after. They beat 4 ranked teams. What else can I say about Cam Newton? One more thing. If you look at that roster from that 2010 Auburn team, I guarantee you can't find one other person you recognize. Name another team in the last 20 years where that's the issue.
Yeah. I will give. I think Cam Newton is always in that top 3, top 5, and everyone's list that's going to say he's one of the best college football players of all time.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah. What did you have, Fernando?
I'm going to go a little bit modern. I said Joe Burrow.
I love this pick. I love Joe Burrow.
He started at Ohio State. He did not get an opportunity to start. He goes to LSU and proves Ohio State that they made the wrong decision to let him go.
Per usual.
And he won the Natty that year.
He won in Tuscaloosa. He embarrassed Oklahoma in the playoffs, and he embarrassed Clemson in the national championship. I love this kid, and I still do.
He's so cool.
Yes.
Can you remember when he smoked that cigar after?
The most infamous
He's
picture.
Awesome, and he just has such poise, and he doesn't get. You just don't see anything rattling him on the field, especially at LSU.
Why do you think he has that name called Joe Cool?
Joe Cool,
probably the greatest football team.
And he had greatest football. He had Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. He had such good.
Clicked
people. It was awesome.
Puzzle.
Yep, and that's why he's a great football player today.
Yeah, he's one of those few people who is still good in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I had originally considered Joe Burrow. Love him. Amazing. Honestly, and Bengals, he's doing them right. Well, maybe not this season, but in the past he has. But I went to someone before our lifetime, another Auburn player, Bo Jackson,
Yeah.
dual athlete, football, baseball, went professional in both. Absolutely insane. Had commentators calling him the scholarship cheerleader because every time he ran to the sidelines, he was hyping it up. He was getting in the stands. Didn't matter what the score was. He was energetic. He was happy. He was being a good teammate, supportive, and he was running the field. Mans was in the touchdown, making the hard catches, and it was just so entertaining to go and watch his highlights. Even before the show, going on YouTube, watching some old reels, just so, like, you just watch him and you just laugh and you're just like, oh, dang, or I don't know. I know it's all the way back in the 80s, before our lifetime, but he's truly just
People
so
still
fun
talk
to watch
about him today.
Yes,
Like,
exactly.
he's still a very
A
prevalent
relevant
name.
name.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly, 100%.
Yeah.
So after watching the Johnny Manziel documentary this summer, I had to put Johnny Manziel. Like, that kid is so iconic. Like, this kid won a Heisman freshman year. That's, like, so unheard of. And the fact that he was, like, just he wasn't even that dedicated to football. Like, he didn't watch really any film, but he still went out and, like, I think he won in Tuscaloosa. He is, like, insane.
Check mark.
He has a lot of highlights.
He has a lot of highlights. He's just absolutely insane. And he's not really the tallest kid. He's, on paper, he doesn't look like he's small.
He's small.
He's like
Go
not what a
Sharks.
quarterback should be, but this kid is amazing. Like,
His
this kid
mechanics
is
weren't great. They just
amazing.
made it work.
He is so
Magic.
awesome. I think he's really good, and he's someone that everyone talks about. Everyone loves him. Like, I love this kid,
All honesty, he might
Johnny
be the
football.
reason. He might be the reason Texas A&M still gets overhyped to this day.
I agree.
Every single season,
because everyone's waiting for that next Johnny Manziel.
Exactly.
But
Kiffin.
exactly.
It's not happening.
But I think those are some pretty good people that we've talked about. I 100% agree with everybody. But, we've heard terms like QBU and RBU. Well, like, what do you guys think? Who's QBU? Who's RBU? Who's WRU? What do you think?
QBU, to me, Oklahoma. Sam Bradford, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, and then if we want to count Caleb Williams, that's 4 Heisman.
Spencer Rattler. I love him at South Carolina.
Yeah, he's great for half a game. So
he was great last year.
For half a season.
Exactly.
So, and then RBU, I'm going to put it Alabama. I just, 2 Heisman winners at running back over the past 15 years. I think it's hard to disagree with that. They're I believe the only running backs who have won in the past 15 years. It was Mark Ingram and Derrick Henry. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. I'm sorry. And then wide receiver I have to put it Alabama as well. Dang. They have great talent in the NFL right now. Jerry Jeudy, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
And then you have people like Julio Jones that were doing it 6-7 years ago.
But as you said, like, as we talked about earlier, they might honestly lose those titles in the next decade or so. But as of right now, those are respectable picks.
No, What do you think?
For me, QBU, it's gotta be Alabama. They had Tua. They have.
They had a stacked quarterback room a couple years ago.
Yeah, and they even had Mac Jones, Tua, and even Jalen Hurts in the same QB room. Like, that's incredible.
I agree with you on there.
For me, running back, it's Penn State. Saquon, Singleton right now. I think Singleton has a great future.
Me too. Agreed. Yeah, I agree.
And wide receiver, I actually agree with you. I think it's got to be Bama too. Like, they are loaded in wide receiver.
Yeah,
Devontae Smith, they're loaded.
All right, well, we went for 2 for 3 on picks, so I got to respect most of your choices. QBU, I took Alabama, as you were saying. All the amazing stacks of QBs they had in that, like, just the last 20 years especially. You can count Jalen Hurts, even though he transferred, but just the list continues. You see them in the NFL. You see them making a difference. They're not just names.
100%.
RBU, I also picked Penn State. Currently, obviously, have Saquon Barkley, everyone's favorite. Everyone loves him. Giants may not be having the best season, which I'm okay with as a Cowboys fan, but they exactly. But they still get the ball to him, and he still outperforms every game he can to the best of his abilities. Excuse me. As for WRU, I took USC. They seemed prevalent to be a top 5 for all 3 of these categories, and I feel like I had to give them one. And so I went with WRU. They have, over 50 total wide receiver selections in the NFL, 18 to 20 being in the last 20 years alone. That says something. That makes a stance. Statistics, in some sense, don't lie. And you got to put respect on that. Like, they're a flashy team. Do I think they're overhyped this season? Yes. But they have good wide receivers.
As an Eagles fan, I can't stand USC.
I know I hate USC.
JJ Arthega-Whiteside.
But I agree with both you guys. I do pick Alabama and Oklahoma as quarterback. You get both and both. You get really good quarterbacks on each end. Running back, Penn State. Like, Miles Sanders maybe wasn't the best in college, but he's really good in the NFL, so I'll give him credit for that.
Yeah.
I mean, Saquon Barkley, everyone knows who Saquon Barkley is. Katron Allen, Nick Singleton have been the talk of college football.
Yeah.
I think wide receiver U is between Alabama. I mean, like, LSU has had some really good wide receivers.
That's
I mean,
true.
Jamar Chase is amazing.
Justin
Jefferson is
Jefferson.
amazing. And they
Odell
were on the
Beckham
same
Jr.
team at the same time.
That's Jarvis Landry.
Jarvis Landry.
Yes, I totally forgot OBJ. Like, those people are so good, and half of them were on the team together at the same time, winning the national championship.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think these are some pretty good picks of, we
I
don't
agree.
get talked about. We don't get
crazy.
talked about as RBU enough. Everyone says we're linebacker U. I think we're RBU, actually.
Hopefully become QBU some point.
I hope so. Trace McSorley, come on, you can't leave him out of that. But anyways, we're going to get into That's Clipped. There are some older guys, suiting up on Saturdays.
Oh, boy.
I actually didn't know.
Oh, boy.
People this old could still. I thought Sean Clifford was old for college football, but I guess not. We have that includes Hugh Robertson, Illinois, 30-year-old punter.
How does that happen?
I think he has kids too. I think someone has
I think
kids.
I think he's married.
Someone has
How does that
kids.
work?
Well, Matt Gaynard is actually a Marine veteran.
Okay, it's
Okay.
always like
So,
an ex-vet.
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
Okay.
And Matt Gaynard, who's Virginia's 34-year-old kicker.
He looks.
He
Why
looks
does he look younger? Why does he
I
look
know.
He looks older. and
Maybe
he
they
looks
just did him
young.
dirty with the picture.
I know. Oh my God, that's crazy. But good for them. Living in their college days still. I respect that. But
Yeah, good for them.
and then this Saturday we were talking about how Colorado State was playing very dirty. They had a really bad hit on Travis Hunter. I've been seeing a lot of
Travis
hate
Hunter.
on Blackburn, number 11.
Yeah.
People are saying that he should be suspended. I think Travis Hunter has a lacerated liver.
Yeah, I think
broke
they
that
said
rib
his
too.
liver.
He's
And
out
he's
for
out
3
for
weeks.
3 weeks.
That's gonna hurt. That's
I
another
really
reason
don't
they're not
think.
gonna
I think
fix
he
that.
should
Bad for
I
them.
really do think he should be suspended for how long it's going to take Travis Hunter to recover. Like you can't be. That was a late hit. That was an incompleted pass. No respect for Colorado
And it looks
State.
like he has no remorse.
And
Yeah,
they were playing dirty. Colorado State's acted like they're the number 5 team in the country. Like no one cares
Colorado
about Colorado
was-
State.
Deion Sanders made it a little bit personal.
I don't care.
Yeah, but here's my thing.
I
It's
don't
like,
care.
that was a dirty hit by Blackburn. That's never okay to do in the sport. It's not good for the sport at all. Colorado was playing just as dirty. They was talking just as much trash.
Definitely
I
talking
respect
I'm not going to
trash.
say they asked for it, but there's a certain level of expectation when you play like that as well.
And then
That's why it was a
Colorado
good
State's
game.
coach is like, I take my sunglasses and my hat off when I talk to adults. Like, why?
Too
Just
much.
be quiet. Honestly, it really makes me aggravated. I'm such a primetime fan,
And that's why Colorado won.
and that's why Colorado won. So exactly, Colorado State. The death threats.
Oh,
I
yeah,
did
the
hear
death
about
threats.
that.
That's
Yeah.
true.
I mean, I don't think death threats are like.
That's true, but
I think
that's not something you should do.
I
Never
think
acceptable.
suspension
Like, come
or
on.
sitting out of a game is
Even
like.
like the ones that happening in the NFL, they had to send out that post like
Oh,
death
for
threats.
T. Higgins.
Yeah.
getting
Yeah,
death-
T. Higgins.
What
Yeah.
did
Death
T.
threats are-
Higgins do? Nothing.
Death
Alexander
threats are
Madison.
never
Madison got
acceptable.
death
Madison
threats
got
as well.
death threats too.
I
Like, come on, we're
Death threats are like
it's-
never
Come
okay.
on, we
I
shouldn't
think
do
that's
that.
so
Yeah.
uncalled for.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's just a
Human
sport.
remorse.
It's
Yeah.
just a sport.
I
I
agree.
get really
We can
into
get
it too,
passionate.
but I'm not gonna wish death upon
Exactly.
somebody.
Mm-mm.
That's horrible.
And taking the time and effort to go like message them or reach out to them, like
Yeah.
go do something else with your life.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Go
I
turn on
completely-
another game.
Pick one, Caleb Williams or Cam Newton.
Cam
Cam
Newton.
Newton.
Cam Newton.
I
Cam
hate,
Newton.
I
Cam-
hate Caleb Williams.
Cam Newton
I
won a
don't
national
like-
championship.
I like Cam Newton.
There,
Yeah.
said.
He won a
done.
Heisman as well.
Caleb Williams won a Heisman, but like hasn't made it
No-
to a
no-
playoff game.
no one remembers.
Didn't even win his division. So like,
If Williams wins a national championship, he's the best college quarterback. of
I
all
don't
time.
think
I wanna-
that's not
No,
happening this
no.
year.
I know it's not going to
I wanna
happen,
see
but if he
USC.
does,
I don't even think.
Lose?
Wait,
Yeah,
is
absolutely.
USC's in the Pac-12, right?
yeah, Pac-12.
Yeah.
They're not going to win the Pac-12
No,
either.
it's
I feel like
Oh.
Utah's going to win
I don't know
again.
about
Utah's
that.
going to win again.
Utah-
They're not going to win.
UC
They're not going to win a
and
national championship,
USC
but I don't know
entering
about
the
the
Big
Pac-12.
I don't know.
Utah, Oregon, Washington.
That's the only time I'll root for Utah is to beat
Definitely not
USC.
Colorado.
and then
Hey.
how we slept
You
Yeah.
don't
in the
know.
Rose
This is
Bowl.
going to be a good season
Yeah.
to see who wins it all.
But to finish off the show, we got the W moment of the day.
Oh,
there
yes.
are so many good games this week in college football. We mentioned a lot of them
Mhm.
earlier, but overall, it's just a great week to be a fan.
Mhm.
It's a really good week to be a fan. I really do think. Yeah. I still think Clemson's getting a W. I'm going to go on that.
I'm taking.
I'm taking
I'm taking Florida.
Clemson.
I'm taking
Clemson.
Take it Florida State. I think Jordan
taking
Travis is still in the
Florida.
Heisman conversation.
I'm
Clemson.
taking Florida simply because
They're home.
I don't think Clemson's awake yet.
They're home, and I really
think
think
they're
that
home.
environment's going to help.
Home field advantage.
It's hard to play in Death Valley.
It's like-
You're right.
That's
Home field advantage is
And they didn't.
Well,
and Florida State did
huge.
not look good last week.
no. Boston
No, they kind
College.
of sleepwalked their way through that.
Yeah,
But Jordan Travis is
I
so.
wouldn't
And
be
good.
Boston
mad to
College
see
had an
Clemson
opportunity to win that game.
They did. Did you see that ending throw too? They literally almost tied the game and
Yeah.
everything. It was
Hilarious.
crazy. But you know what? I'm really hoping Clemson pull this out. I'm really hoping Notre Dame pulls this out.
I agree.
I'm really looking for some upsets. So
Change
finally
up
we
AP
can
polls a
climb
little
in
bit.
the AP polls.
Yeah, I'm tired of being
I
seven.
swear,
Yeah,
seven,
exactly.
I'm gonna be done.
I don't know. I don't understand how Ohio State's ahead of us right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
They've been
Ohio
awful.
State-
After
They've
this
been
week,
awful.
they're
Not
gonna take the
good.
they're gonna take the
Platt
loose
also
to
keeps
Notre
putting us
Dame.
at 8 or 9 and
Joe
keeps playing
Platt's
Ohio.
ridiculous.
They're
Joe
gonna
Platt
take-
makes me
Yes, they're gonna
upset.
take the list to
For
Notre Dame,
example,
and they're gonna
Alabama
drop, and we're
loses,
about
Texas goes up above us.
But
How
then
does
Notre Dame-
Texas get to 3? I really don't
They
understand
go from
that.
11 to 3.
That's crazy. That's crazy to me.
I don't get
They
it.
did
They
look.
struggled
I
against
mean, yes,
Wyoming,
Alabama.
though.
Well, that was also before Bama. Like we knew Bama wasn't going to be strong this season. People just thought they had a bad game. Texas looked really strong against Bama. I'll give them
But
that.
then they look.
I don't
They
even
look
think.
they
against
look that
I
good
don't
against
even think
Wyoming.
Georgia should be number 1. Honestly, I hate
They struggled that
Michigan,
first
but I
half.
think Michigan should be.
Well,
Georgia
but
almost lost to South
yeah, I was
Carolina.
gonna say
Michigan
Georgia
put
struggled
three
first half.
I
And
know.
no
I
one
don't
even
like Michigan.
disrespects
Actually,
them.
the AP
But
poll's
they
kind of a
barely
mess right
won
now.
it.
Hopefully, this week kind of shakens everything up.
Yes.
I'm not a fan of the AP poll. I really don't like.
That's
it
why I
at all.
like when the comedian comes in.
Exactly. But no, Joe Platt's ridiculous. He's such an Ohio State fan, and I hate it.
Good chance.
Agreed. Yeah. But you know what? That's it for today's sports. Make sure to watch Sunday's show. And you know what? Let's go Penn State.
Let's go Penn State.